I click the links for Odyssey, Bit Chute, Sports Channel, or Join Channel, or Coffee, CashApp, various other links. Be sure to join the Discord, and I just got a Reddit, so I could read her Reddit thing. I'm on Bianca Zombie at Reddit, or various other links are either going to be Bianca Zombie or Bianca Fights the Zombies. And Telegram, I think Telegram is kind of the path forward. It has a lot of useful features, especially in the way of file sharing, where you can share, video content that I'm sure is totally legal to share. I'm not advising anything else. So I hate these people so friggin' much. These people, why do they lecture us? Like, one, we don't want to be lectured to by anyone. And two, we don't want to be lectured to, well, really by anyone. Almost in anything. It's like you can convey information politely, but this finger waving, like you can watch your clip. They're so proud of the clip that they clipped the clip of her, that little 4-minute blurb of her spurging out. They put that on Twitter. They're doubling down on it because they kind of have to, because it is turned into a left versus right thing. So they actually kind of painted themselves in a corner with this. And the issue of how out of touch are they? It's like the answer is yes, they're out of touch, just all the way. But do they really believe this stuff? Are they really out of touch, or are they kind of like, are they tweaking the nose because they hate you? It's a kind of a combination of both. There are people like somebody, if you're Japanese or Korean companies who are involved with American companies, they are being fed a bill of goods. Like they don't quite understand what's going on. But if you're in these American companies, I don't know, maybe it's 50-50. There's a lot of people who are drinking the Kool-Aid who are really into this woke stuff, and they think like, oh yeah, this will be great. We'll set them straight. Like the old show was a bunch of hot chicks in bikinis eating hot dogs, and we're going to have someone who's not attractive. Don't let the dyed-haired fool you. It is dark as her soulless eyes. Her eyes are like shark eyes. They're just soulless and empty. Horrible, horrible people. And I'm so edgy. I've got tattoos. Yeah, it's not 1992 anymore. I mean, the whole vibe of the show. You can go back on YouTube and you look through these types of shows. The progression of these types of shows back to the 90s. It was a different vibe back then, and like to come back in 2022 and try to do this is a weird. I don't see it working too well, but keep in mind, they've got 500,000 subs. They have a lot of money to burn through. It's not like this is going to fail overnight. It's not even probably going to fail in 2 years because they don't want to back away from it. Because, like I said, it's a left versus right wing issue. So for them to back away from it is kind of an admission of, so a liar. It's kind of an admission that they failed and they don't want to abandon that position. So they're going to back away from it. You go, okay, so in 2 years from now, they might close the doors because they're running out of money, and be like, yeah, just the environment has moved on. You're like, so did her thing have anything to do with it? Oh, no, absolutely nothing to do with it. Really? I kind of think it might have had something to do with it. You're insulting 90% of the audience. Or, like, who are you insulting? Well, if it don't apply, then let it fly. It just kind of feels like you're trying to insult the audience. I mean, otherwise you could talk to so liar. She got some information wrong, as we will scroll down and point out. She got some information wrong, and she was roasted for it, and she doubled down and spurged out and had a meltdown over it. And the company decided, everyone on this, all these blue check mark idiots decide to back her up. Like, yes, queen, slay. This is 2022. All this kind of feminist stuff was 2015 energy. Even by 2015, it was peaking. It was on the downward slope. And then by 2016, Trump, for some reason, blew all the feminist stuff away. And Trump got in office, and then YouTube stopped allowing anti-SJW channels on YouTube. They slowly got rid of them over the 4 years because, their own reasons. They thought, oh, this kind of helps Trump get elected. All the people who were pro-Trump in 2015, 2016, 90% of those people got kicked off YouTube. And all those anti-SJW channels, it's like, well, that's anti the Google narrative. And Google are these the very same globalists who are pushing this narrative. So they got rid of all those channels. But the thing is, the SJW channels were only fun, and they only got traffic and eyeballs because anti-SJW channels were doing such a good job of parodying them. So you got rid of both of those guys, and that was kind of unintended consequences of getting rid of the people. It's like you get rid of the anti-SJW channels. Oh, so now people are going to flock to feminist frequency. No, the only reason it got eyeballs was so people could laugh at it. They were cringe viewing it. Without that, it's like, oh, it's a 200,000 channel and nobody's watching it because it's just like the culture has moved on from feminism. That was 2015. And a lot of people are kind of pointing out the hypocrisy of, I got to be careful here, first world in the geography American feminists ignoring other areas of the world where one would think feminism would be more of an issue. Other areas around the world. I'm making hand gestures like a fucking idiot. Other areas of the world that I'm not going to go into because YouTube algorithm is a real bitch. This has got all this Twitter energy of I was thinking of 2015 YouTube was like, or social media was stop spelled STAWP and rawr and XD. And to this day, I still don't know what XD stands for. And for some reason, rawr was cute. Like kids were dressing up in, I don't know, like cat ear costumes or like shark something costumes. And that was like, I don't know, some kind of influence with the Japanese cartoons or something. Anyway, nobody wants lectures. What do we want? Hot chicks in bikinis just running around being silly. You're not going to get that, but that's what we want. And here's the thing with all of this kind of stuff. Always just tell people what you want, honestly, and don't let them shame you. Pretend to be too, kind of, I want to say, elitistic, where you don't get what they're trying to shame you. Like, oh, you just want to bang these chicks? I just want to see hot chicks in bikinis. It just puts me in a good mood. It kind of relaxes me. I just like to have that on. And whenever I just want to relax, oh, do you want to bang these? It's not about banging. It's not even a sexual. It's just a relaxing way. It's just a... It's like seeing people who are going out of their way to be friendly. It's like that's what all these old ZD TV channels and the G4, the old stuff was all about. It was like, you knew your audience at the time was probably, I don't know, 10 to 20-year-old, 99% male. Just give them what they want. They want this talking about video games, but they also want hot chicks in the background. Maybe some, no, I won't say it. It's just a vibe, and it's not, I think women, especially this chick, she's not hetero, she doesn't understand, she doesn't quite understand the vibe of why people like to listen to hot chicks. Even if they're not really paying attention, it just puts people in a good mood. And I kind of get the feeling it probably goes back like tens of thousands, hundred, maybe millions of years of it's some kind of evolutionary thing where people like to listen to pretty things. And it's men and women, but it's probably a hetero thing. Anyway, we want hot chicks. Don't be afraid to tell people what you want. You just want hot chicks. And you don't want chicks who are people who disrespect the audience, who are pains in the asses, who are overly political. Listen, we get it. Most people in the entertainment sphere are going to be left-wing people. We don't need to be beat over the head with it. We don't need to re-argue every issue. Yeah, you got issues with Orange Man bad. Okay, well that... you have to respect people's decisions. They made a different decision than you. And the thing with the left and the right is like the left. I remember when Bush got in office a long time, 20 years ago, and people, the left wing lost their mind too. They lost their mind the exact same way with Trump, but social media wasn't quite as saturated as it is now. So it didn't quite it didn't catch fire, but they lost their minds the same way. It's like, oh, this like Bush is some kind of evil monster. It's like, no, he's just a politician, but he's not your guy. Like your guy was an idiot also. They're all idiots, and they're all controlled by foreign entities. Like, don't try to pretend that it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Bernie or Hillary. They're all scumbags who are bending the knee to the same overlords behind the curtain. Be careful there, buddy. Pretend. Okay, here's the thing with America. It's not the political stuff. It's like I'm trying to say, if you're doing these kind of lighthearted, fluffy shows, pretend like you're Japan. How Japan is and South Korea are masters at what they do with these type of shows. They just skip all that American political stuff, and it's not. How do I say this carefully for YouTube? It's not American political stuff so much as that America is obviously. Has very many different tribes, and they all hate each other. And you have people who don't want to just let that go for the sake of producing entertaining content. They have to bring their tribalism, their ethnic tribalism into it to go off on the other tribe. Like she had a thing where she went off on something like a European gaming, and there were too many European men in European gaming. It's like, okay, Frosk, why would you purposely make trouble? Because one, she can, and two, that's who she is, that's who the platform is, that's who the people who support them are. They're bad people who purposely make trouble, and they know they're mostly going to get away with it. And like I said, this show is probably going to tank in 2 years. But assuming they're getting money from, I don't know, Sony or even like another thing is video game. If you're doing video game reviews, what would it take for somebody to say, okay, you didn't like the game, or instead of pointing out the game's negative features, here's $50,000, give it a good review. Probably pretty easy. I mean, if you're a game designer, and I mean, that's probably something that happens. I'm not saying they do it, but it's something that's definitely on the table. Anyway, my point is, like, all these shows before with the hot chicks, Olivia Munn and some of the other girls, whoever were those girls in bikinis, it's just, you have to fake honest enthusiasm. And I mean, obviously, I don't do any of that kind of stuff, but because this is just some asshole with a camera, as again with the hand gestures. But these kind of shows, they're the YouTube shows where they got hot chicks. Like those chicks, you have no idea what they're feeling. Fake honest enthusiasm to sell your show. It's not that hard. You're getting paid to do it. These Frosk chicks, and she has in her interview, she says one of her quotes is she knows, she admitted she has some mental issues. Okay, so you know you have to deal with that. Why wouldn't you try to keep your outbursts on the down low? But it's not, the thing is, it's not an outburst. I'm assuming she's reading from a teleprompter. I'm assuming she checked all this out with the people beforehand. It's like, oh, I didn't expect you were going to say this. But it's on the teleprompter, and you proved it beforehand, so you wouldn't step on my lines. It's like, this isn't some spontaneous outburst about feminism. She wrote this out beforehand, and the people approved it. Because the people who also work on the shows are massive, giant assholes who are either completely out of touch, or they just hate the audience. And, the thing with her spurging out of her mistakes on social media, with mistakes, you just move on. People correct you, and, if you want to acknowledge it, fine. Otherwise, move on. Don't argue with people. You said what you said. They said what they said. You don't need to go back and forth over it. You're not gonna convince somebody. You feel differently about it. And ultimately, you're selling entertainment. So if you want to talk about feminism, you're probably better off going making a different show and talking about feminism. No, I want to use this platform to talk about feminism. Well, now you're serving two masters, and you're not going to serve the primary master well of informing people about video games or whatever, movies, whatever content you're doing on YouTube. You got to inform, entertain, and being a hot chick, being eye candy, that really helps. That really, really helps. I saw one of their live streams the other day. It didn't look like people were having fun. They weren't eye candy, and they weren't funny. They were doing like a sketch of like video game, like a game show type of thing. Except nobody looked like they were having fun. It wasn't just hot chicks in bikinis jiggling, bouncing up and down and clapping like a Japanese vibe would do. It's like they know their audience. They know they're just there to have fun. It's like American shows are not there to have fun. They're there to be very, very tribal and to lecture you. Like, I don't want to be lectured to by soy boys and cat ladies. I don't want to be lectured to by anyone. I mean, if you're teaching me about why carbon is better than silicon for life, okay, great. But nobody wants to be talked down to by people that we don't respect in the first place. We look at all these people who are behind the scenes on G4, and like, these are all cat ladies and soy boys. These aren't chads who are lecturing us. These people are dorks. I mean, they're unattractive people who are not happy with themselves. I don't mean unattractive physically. I mean like their whole spirit is ugly and sour and just twisted and just poison. It's the fruit of this poison tree. Anyway, this show's not gonna fail tomorrow, but like 2 years, yeah, it's probably gonna take 2 years. Anyway, I hope this was. I had to do this twice because the first time I said a bunch of politically incorrect things. I'll put that one on Bit Chute and Odyssey. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, support channel if you can. I'll see you guys all next episode.